Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you join us today. And hello if you're watching this video on demand on YouTube. My name is Oliver Rogers. I'm joining you today as the host of this session, introducing our Chief Technical Officer, Bernd Engist. Welcome to this Bright Talk session on high impact automation, where we'll be showcasing our upcoming product release, Avantra 23. We're going to start in just a few moments to let everyone file in, but I can take this time to introduce myself and the topic today. I get the pleasure of introducing Bernd Engist, Avantra's Chief Technical Officer, who will be conducting the session today and ran a similar session yesterday in German. So if anyone is more comfortable in German, I highly advise you to watch this session on YouTube as well. It's well worth a watch. Our agenda today is to show you what we've been working on since our latest major release, specifically around our automation engine and high impact automation. If you have any questions, please do feel free to paste them here, and we won't promise to get through everything, but we'll sure get you an answer afterwards. So our agenda today is based around our automation engine and showcasing the new features that we've been working on this year to add to this engine. We've targeted several scenarios that take the most time for your SAP operations team, removing tedious manual work and allowing you to accomplish your business goals. This includes our new system refresh automation template that I know Bernd will show us today. We've also been hard at work with integration in our new automation engine, either allowing other systems, including ServiceNow and other third-party systems, to start a workflow, or to use existing Ansible playbooks within an Avantra workflow, bringing all your automation in one place. We've also progressed our user experience rejuvenation project, adding our landscape browser, which is brand new in Avantra 23.0, to explore your monitor systems and show you where you need to focus your time, as well as polishing our dashboarding, creation, and browsing experience. So without much further ado, let me hand over to Bernd Engist to start this demo.
Thanks a lot, Ole, for the introduction today. Normally I'm visible on video, but not today. Apologies for this. This is because I was stung by a wasp in my lip today. During lunchtime, it was very good weather and warm in Basel, where our office is. So apologies for this one. But still, we have some very exciting things to show today. And yeah, let me begin. And as Ollie has introduced, we're going to begin with our most complex workflow we have built so far, right? We've been on this automation journey now since 3 years, since we started. Let me do a refresh, reload site here. You see, it's a live demo. So everything was fine just a minute ago. Give me a second to sort this out. Maybe it's as well the VPN I need to reconnect. This happens from time to time. So let me reconnect our VPN. And then try again. Here we go. So, okay, now let's get started. Yeah. So, automation. So automation, we've been on this journey since 3 years now. And so we now moved as well the automation menu on top levels into building out our functionality more and more. We'll see some exciting news on our engine today, but as well on the workflows. And as I said, let me first start the real most exciting one, which is our system refresh. And here we have a procedure, and I will run during this session now a whole system refresh from one HANA production system to a QAS system, right? So let me start this right now. We can talk a little bit more on this, and we'll come back to this system refresh every now and then. So I fill in. What you see here is a variant, QAS. You see a file bundle. You see the details. You will later on see the details here as well. The target SAP system, the source SAP system, and all this data here. What is here pre-filled is something we called a variant. You see as well certain users. So credentials of users will go into details of this credentials management as well later. So let us get this started. Run. And now it will take approximately 35 minutes until the whole system refresh is completed. And let us wait here until it all begins always with system refresh preparation and checks. You can run this offline, by the way, as many times as you want. Yeah. And unless this is completed successfully, it doesn't make sense to get the system refresh started. Okay, you see here now this is progressing. We're now, I can now close this window. We're going to come back later on. So I want to now dive in a little bit deeper into what we've done in this year. So this year, and what will be available in release 23.0. First of all, let me talk on our step library, right? So step library, what is it? The step library are small reusable components you can stick together. They have inputs and outputs, and I'm going to show you, for example, one example. It's called BC maintain. This is something we have been showing before. And here you see actually, there's source code behind, right? All small snippets of source code. And because we're delivering all our automation workflows as source code, so you can change them if you need. Sometimes you will see in system refresh there are opportunities where you can actually improve and benefit from the possibility that this can all be changed, right? Now, these little snippets of code, this step library, they have parameters, input and output, and this can then be handed over to the next step, for example, right? So we have here a no-code possibility to work with these snippets of code, or as well here low code. You will see a little bit later on as well why we're talking on low code, because many things you don't have to do because it's already done. And you can as well test them, but let me choose another small component, a very simple one. It's called BC user create. I'm using this one because this is nothing else than one RFC function call, right? Which creates a user somewhere. And this is something we have built for a customer to let him automate user creations right out of a ServiceNow catalog item, right? And this is something I will show later on as well. What I'm showing you here are our automation engine capabilities. And we've built in some very exciting stuff, which is a debugger. Let me make this a little bit smaller. Here you see debug script. And I'm giving you an example, and afterwards I'm going to tell you why this is important, right? So first of all, I'm using username. I choose btest. I do this on a system SA1. I want to have it open here, right? So btest. I've just deleted this user a few minutes ago. Yeah, the session is now dead anyway. Doesn't matter. Let me go back to my screen here. Password is the B1 question. RFC creds. That's important. I'm going to explain this a little bit later in more detail, because this refresh.abap, that's the right name, because we need a lot of different credentials. The normal monitoring user, right, should never have the permissions to create users, right? Therefore, we needed to find a way that we use the users only in workflows where we actually need them, right? And not using them all the time in the background for monitoring purpose. This will definitely be a problem in one of your audits. So Bernd, Engist, as I said, I come to this users credentials back a little later, and B at avantra.com. So let us create this user now in the system SA1, right? But I will use the debugger here. So you press debug script, I will get an URL, which then I can use in my browser and put the URL in. And here I've got a wonderful JavaScript debugger. And this is actually code now being executed. It may be far away in a network. So we've integrated the debugging protocol to our own master, the Avantra server agent protocol. So this is actually running on the agent now, right? Now let me click here on step. And as you can see what's happening here, I was supposed to use a special user, the sys refresh ABAP user, but unfortunately, I can't get the RFC credentials. So it's using now the normal RFC connection as a fallback. So we're trying to use this with the RFC connection the agent has already established, right? I press next and okay, now I'm gone. So the debugging has finished. I could as well close this window. Let us go back, and here we see, no RFC authorization for function module Barbie user create. Okay, now what's happened? The mistake must be somehow here. So let me go to system SA1 and show you these credentials in more detail, right? So I go to systems, SAP systems, and a filter for SA1. And here you actually see the SA1 system and what's new since 2111, but we're building this out more and more, are these credentials here. And as I said, for a system refresh, we need several users. We need the SAP control user. We need RFC credentials for patching, for example. We use a different user here. And for system refresh, this case, we are use a DDIC. We might want to use another highly privileged user as well. In this example, we're using the well-known DDIC user. And here, actually, you see the mistake. This refresh is written with a capital R, right, instead of a lower. Therefore, I couldn't retrieve this user, and therefore, this very small step, this very small example failed. Everything fails all the time, right? That's why you need a debugger to follow up with issues like this. So let me go back to the step and try this once again, but now I'm using the right credentials. A user, DDIC, has, of course, the permissions to create new users. And let us debug this once again. So here I'm getting another time and URL. I will use this, open a new tab. And here I'm actually, again, debugging within the agent. And now I've got the right RFC credentials. We are logging on now with separate credentials. Yeah, here you see how easy, and this is what we call low code. You do not have to establish RFC connections. You just say get function, and we are providing an API here that you can do this very easily. And I'll press next. And as you can see, this was successful, and where the automation step will now get a message. Barbie user create returned successfully, user B test created. You believe me, right? I will not go to the SAP system to save some time. You will simply believe me that you will actually find the user now in the SAP system. And as I said, everything fails all the time, right? We use this debugger to build our own workflows on a day-to-day basis, yeah? And when something fails, you need the tools to fix it. And we have incredibly good people in our customer base. They would certainly start to build their own automations on top of what we deliver. So therefore, we believe this is important. Let me move on. Next topic is file bundles, right? So I go back to my automation menu and I choose file bundles here. And now let me show you what are behind these file bundles, right? For example, you see here STPI19. Yeah, let me open this. And here these three files in here. This is somehow later visible in, I believe, in one of the patching automations. Or here SAP support tool patches, right? And what is really very cool that we wrote an automation. So no matter on which source or in which level your STPI, so the support tools or API tools are, you can use the same automation and the same support, the same file bundle to transfer these files over, and it will always go to the right destination level. So very easy, and think of environments with many SAP systems. So that's a very helpful automation that you can fully automate the patching of SAP components, like support tools. And these file bundles are now transferred during the automation. You simply specify a file bundle, and then they're automatically transferred, and then you can work with them, upload them to the user SAP trans. By the way, I will show this in another automation. Just introducing file bundles here. And now let me show you a very special file bundle. It's called srconfig. What is behind this one here? Yeah, srconfig. This is because our system refresh procedure is so complex, and we have so many data that we decided we use a file, actually JSON file, as a config file to configure our own system refresh. And this is, by the way, as well user maintainable. So let me download it and have a little look into this. I need to format this here, otherwise it won't look good. So what you actually see here is as well the platforms. And here is behind the scenes, you can see that we have an announcement to do, because we are now supporting system refresh as well on SAP ASA database and Oracle by the release of Avantra 23. DB2, by the way, and MS SQL are in the making. This won't take that much time until we release DB2 and MS SQL support as well. Looking a little bit more at the details, here you see a lot of tables, for example, right? And these are specifications. Which tables do we want to export and import again? Which tables do we want to keep in the QAS system and not being refreshed from the production system? This is an example of configuration here. And we already had advanced users that they want to change this and say, okay, due to performance requirements, we won't transfer this table, or we won't restore this one, and the forth. So changes can be made here. It's intended that for special use cases or advanced users may do changes here to this system refresh config file. So let me go back here. And as you can see, by the way, let us go back to our system refresh and check where we're at. So I go back to the workflow here. And here you can see SR execute with restore. This is the restore, the refresh we're actually executing. So I'm opening this one. We have passed the preparation and checks, of course. We are now at the preparation and checks. We're now doing SR HANA full backup restore. Yeah, we are waiting for the restore of the data, for the backup of the production data is being restored in the QAS system. And we're now waiting for this restore to be completed. Before we have exported the tables we want to keep. These are all empty systems, so this goes very fast. In real life, certainly this would take a little bit longer, right? But what you see here is really important. This is high impact automation. And I want to tell you a story about this, right? My long-term colleague, Pierre Fournet, she's our head of SAP engineering. When we began half a year ago with first pilots running at customers, he did a successful system refresh in 18 hours at this customer. And this was just technical runtime. And previously, they had a whole time of 4 days to do a full system refresh. So people had to work over the weekend and so forth. So a full elapsed time of 4 days, right? In a huge manual, 70, 80 pages, doing all the steps manually. We could bring this down to 18 hours only technical runtime. So you could say, okay, run now, and then it takes 18 hours, and then the system refresh was completed. And then the head of SAP at this customer approached Pierre, and he asked, 18 hours, well, that's cool. Can we run this now every month? And Pierre said, yes, of course, you can run it every month. Previously, they did it only 3 or 4 times a year. And then the head of SAP said, can we as well run it every week? And Pierre said, yeah, it's done fully automatically. You can run it every week. And here you see why this guy really got excited, because he can now test with most recent data. Yeah, he can release to production in much higher confidence, because this stuff can be perfectly tested with most recent data. And this is enabling a better DevOps tool chain, yeah, and quicker innovation cycles, because this stuff is better tested. So, and on top of creating time for these people who had previously do the system refresh manually, they can now simply start the refresh fully automatically, go on a hike during the weekend, and think about other good ideas that they could do for the business and for the digital transformation, right? And these are benefits you get by using automation. So it's not only time, there's much more behind here. Okay, so let us do this automation. We don't have to look at it right now. You see it has been progressed. There was a little failure, but the system has recovered from this one. Let me go back to our workflows here and show a little bit more what we've added to our automation engine, right? For example, we've added schedules. Schedules existed before, but we added a very nice new schedule type, which is the advanced one. And this is nothing else behind than cron, right? So user asked for it. We have some special requirements to run our automations at a certain point in time. So we have this now. I can say, okay, 15, maybe every hour, maybe 8 o'clock in the morning, and 20 o'clock again, day of the month, always every month, but only Monday to Friday. And then you can, for example, simply press the info button and check your own setup. Is this, so you see, okay, always 8:50 p.m. and a.m. This schedule would now then fire off and run your automation. Yeah, so cron-like schedules we've been added. We as well linked our workflow automation. Next topic is for self-healing purposes to our own notification management. Yeah, notification management, existing customers might know, very powerful way of dealing with everything what happens inside Avantra. Yeah, for example, our interfaces to ServiceNow are here, or you can call RESTful web service. But now what you can do on top of it, so if something happens, so an action, so a trigger can be a lot of things, checks, as well hot news events, right? You can fire off an automation. You can link an automation to some of these actions. And this is done here, automation workflow, right? So let me show you how this works. Maybe if you can remember, a workflow has inputs. These inputs then can be given to steps. Steps can create outputs and all this kind of thing. So if I choose one of these workflows, for example, busy patch update, right? I would have to give in a lot of inputs here. And this can as well be linked back to the notification data. So notification data then simply passed into an automation workflow, right? So this is very convenient to do these kind of things. And we can't wait to see what you are doing with these possibilities. Yeah. I can recall in my career, there have been various areas where you would do self-healing scenarios, like starting a system automatically to work around a memory leak or so. So there are scenarios where you can actually use automation combined with monitoring for self-healing purpose. Good. Ollie mentioned it in the introduction that we're going to talk on integration as well, right? So let me talk first on our latest integration, which is the integration to Ansible. Yeah. So let me do this first. I go to the step library once again. So I'm going to click here and filter here on Ansible. What we build are integrations in two ways. So first of all, this is something we're not showing today, is we are working on an Ansible module. So an Ansible Avantra module, that's a module we provide for all Ansible users to interact and work with Avantra. Yeah. So this is a module just encapsulating and using our API, but making it very easy for users, for example, to bring in data into Avantra, or to start a workflow, for example, as a post copy action or a post system deployment, right? Ansible is very strong in infrastructure management, but there's well workflows where you could deploy a whole system, a new S/4HANA system to the cloud. And then you would do this with Ansible, but afterwards you would want to maybe add users or patch it to the latest support package stack, or support tools, patch the supporters to the latest version. You would want to maintain profiles, add some security parameters. So a lot of stuff where Avantra is very strong. And then you can combine this, right? So this would be then an integration scenario number one from Ansible using our module to Avantra. Will be available, this module, by time of the release 23.0. Now, the other way around is Avantra would be the leading system and is using Ansible for certain tasks, right? And this could be calling the Ansible controller. If you have Ansible controller in place, that's, of course, the first and best option. So working with the API, and here we have simply created a step, an in source code. Yeah, you can actually use see what we're doing to integrate with the Ansible controller, right? Another example is working with Ansible core directly, and this is what I want to show. So let me filter here on the workflows so I can give you an example. Ansible. And here you see an example where we use Ansible to scale up a server in Google Cloud, right? Why should we build this? If someone has already an existing automation here or an existing Ansible workbook, you can use this. So input is very easy, the SAP system and the server and the machine type, right? In Google, you would hear, so the machine here right now we want to scale up is a E2 standard -4, meaning 4 CPUs and so on. Now, the use case behind this one is, think about a project team being in charge of building a new application, right? And they're close to the go live, and they want to start to do some load tests on the system. And you know that in the cloud, you need to be careful, right? The cloud paradigm of right sizing and tight sizing. You would want to start with a small machine, see, okay, how does this work? You would want to do some load testings, but you need to figure out the ideal size, right? That your users are happy, that the system is performing well, but that you're not have too big systems, because this will definitely make your CFO unhappy, yeah? Because, more CPU, more memory, higher costs. And therefore, you can simply try it out. Yeah? For example, for S/4HANA migrations, we know from our customers, managed service providers, that all HANA sizings are basically wrong in the first place. Yeah, you need to try these things out, and we believe as well. And here's the automation to simply stop the SAP system, which is deployed, prepare the Ansible workbook, and here actually we run an Ansible workbook here. Sorry. And here you see the variables, that's typical YAML. I prefer procedural languages, but that's YAML here. That's the basically one of the languages Ansible is using. And here you bring in these variables, and these variables are actually fed in by Avantra's workflow. And then this Ansible playbook is being run, and the outcome is being reported to the Avantra workflow, right? I will not run this now, but I can show you in one of the executions here. So here you see the SAP system stopped and then scaled up, and then we wait for 60 seconds, and then we start the SAP system again. And in the latest version, by the way, let me show you this, we as well changed the workflow configuration. So that is now something, because here we have it again, the BC maintain upper profiles I showed you in the very beginning. And what we're doing here is we're using this workflow, but with a certain variant to scale this up. Let me go back once again. Oh, sorry, now I messed it up. Here, scale up server. So what we're doing here, we're using a certain input. Give me a second. Where is this inputs? System ID, data environment, workflow. Here we go. Sorry. Determine number of work processes, BC maintain upper profiles. So here's the variant. Sorry for getting a little lost. Give me about this one for inputs. Determine step. Okay. The steps are is an output. Sorry. Now I lost my own automation. I got quickly lost in my own automation. Well, it has been built by our SAP engineering on my request. So the outcome, which work process configuration we use, is a previous step here. So this one is creating the configuration. And if we look at this, we need to look at the source code. So here we're changing the number of dialog and work processes. Now I'm not lost again anymore. So it's in source code where we create this and later on simply add this as an output profile parameter. And this then goes, so here's the parameters, go to the next one where so we're reusing the already existing profile maintenance step in our step library to then bring this via RFC, so gracefully into the SAP system. So a new version of the profile is being then created. Okay, long story short, here is combined the power of both Ansible doing the infrastructure piece and Avantra doing the SAP piece here. Very interested to see what you will do. So there might be a lot of other use cases, as I have already mentioned, with Ansible deploying a whole new system, and Avantra is doing a lot of other stuff. Good. So next integration. Let's talk about another integration, which is our integration to ServiceNow. We are partner of ServiceNow. We're doing a lot of stuff with these guys. We've been introducing new CI items, by the way, working with the CMDB Council when we did our service graph integration, right? You will find this integration, by the way, here, ServiceNow integration, and yeah, we're not going into the details today. Today, I want to show you something else, which is our integration of our workflow engine to ServiceNow, right? Let me hide away this one. So the use case is that some items in the ServiceNow catalog, yeah, is being backed up by an Avantra automation, right? So let me log in here to our test ServiceNow system, and here's the create SAP user service catalog item. So this is something people can simply order, right? And we know from a customer that this user has been, or this workflow has been started, approval have been made, and later on it has been picked up by a basis guy or somebody working and manually create this user in the SAP system. And that was a use case. We wanted to automate this, right? And basically what's behind this one is a flow. So in the flow designer, I could now run this cautious of time because we still want to look at the system refresh. I'm not doing it. But I can show you what's behind it, yeah? I've already logged in. Let me log in again. Here you see these create SAP user flow. right? And here you see a create SAP user actions action. Let me show you this action. So you see a little bit behind the scenes here. It's very easy, and I can say that ServiceNow's platform in integrating with these flow designer is pretty powerful. Here you see that we're calling our web service. Yeah, this is a load balancer. It's set up in GCP, so we expose this, and this is our web service. And I know SOAP, some people say it's old, yeah, but it's as well working well, and especially if it's so well supported as in ServiceNow. You can then, here you've got the input variables. So this is basically here from this service catalog item. This will then be passed in to this workflow. And this is so well done that you actually see you get the job ID back, the Avantra job ID back. You see in Avantra that this has been triggered from ServiceNow. You can trace it in case something would fail. For example, the user has already been created, or the username already exists. You will get the error right back into ServiceNow, yeah, because we added all these get execution stages. So once we have the job ID in Avantra, we can then get the execution stages and do the full error handling here. So this is really well done stuff, and shows again how integration is important to do an end-to-end scenario, to really build end-to-end automations. Okay, now let us go back to our system refresh. Yeah, it should be finished by now. So once again, full screen, workflows. And the workflow is called SR execute. Here we go, SR execute with restore. And I go to executions. Oh, it's still going on, 31 minutes. Yeah, let me open this one and let me see where we're at. We are at importing remaining data. Normally, I expect this workflow to be finished in 35 minutes. And here, by the way, at the very end, you can see another feature. This is a so-called manual step. Yeah, let me show this in the steps here in the definition of this workflow. So if I scroll very far down, this is a so-called manual step. So we are intentionally asking the user, do you want to confirm that the system has been de-isolated? What is isolation, by the way? So if you are restoring data from production to quality assurance, you need to make sure that the quality assurance system doesn't interfere with anything which is normally only supposed to be run from the production. For example, production system has interfaces, RFC, and so forth, the third-party systems. And this is being done by, so the de-isolation is being done by certain steps here. For example, this logical system conversion. SAP, classical people know what's behind this here. And here we added a manual step so we can confirm, okay, everything is fine, and then the users are unlocked and people can log on to the newly refreshed QAS system. Yeah. So let me see where we're at. Opening this once again. And yeah, we're still waiting for the system to be started. Import remaining data. We've just been there, 9 minutes. And I think the rest should be now rather quickly. I think the BDLS conversion, since there's not a lot of data in it, will run very fast. And then we have a refreshed system. So we are as well almost at the end of our demo. We have still 5 minutes to take some questions, if there are any in the audience. So you can use the questions function in your BrightTalk window and ask us questions. Otherwise, we hope you enjoyed this demo today of Avantra 23. And I give back to Ollie once again, because he will have some news on our latest release. So I'm ending screen. Oh no, sorry, I'm not ending screen share. I will bring up our presentation once again. Ollie, over to you.
Thanks very much, Bernd. I really enjoyed listening to you talking about the features of the new automation engine in Avantra 23 and the very impressive system refresh. We've already seen such a benefit that this has had to some customers that are using it already. So I am super excited for October 19th. This is when we make Avantra 23 available for download, barring any last-minute technical glitches. Asterisks here, but October 19th, 2022 is the date for Avantra 23. Just checking now if there's any more questions asked by the audience today. Looks like there's none yet.
That's fine. So our video is a few minutes less than 45 minutes. So we are very good. So thank you for your attention. And certainly, Ollie, there will be a lot of content, right, on Avantra 23, a lot of details, blogs, and everything we are preparing right now once we release on October 19. So the team is busy now. Good. Thanks for listening to us wherever you are, and have a good remaining working day or a good end of your working day, and see you again anytime soon. This video, by the way, will be available on YouTube, in our YouTube channel, and certainly on Bright Talk. Thanks, and bye-bye.
Bye.